Hello and welcome to Perspectives. Special settings for Ramadan, trying to question, introspect, ask those questions which will help me understand my faith, my religion better. For two reasons. One, I don't want to be a Muslim who is a Muslim because his mother told him to be a Muslim. I want to be a Muslim because I believe in the religion. I understand my religion, my faith, my way of life. It is not just a way of life because of what my mother or some people told me this is what I need to do and that's not. But I need to understand it. If I follow the rituals of a religion, of a code of ethic, of any code, without understanding, I may be following blindly. Blind faith is good, but an understood faith is even better. So my effort in the show, our effort in the series is to understand the philosophy, the depth, the simplicities of the religion. Today's topic, which has been building up over the past few shows, is one, I need to understand what Misaq al-Madina is. We keep referring to Misaq al-Madina. What does Misaq al-Madina mean? How the first constitution, first established constitution in history, how can that be applied today to our lives? The world has labeled Quran and Islam as a religion of violence, of tyranny, of anarchy, of chaos. That's not the Islam I read about when I was a child. But that's the Islam I'm seeing today. I'm a Muslim, alhamdulillah, but yet I'm confused about what Islam is. Islam really a religion of violence? Is Islam a religion of killing people, of anarchy, of tyranny, of forceful enforcement of the tenets of Islam? Is that what Islam is or not? We'll talk about that today. My guests on my right and honor, Sir Mufti Irshad Ahmed Ijaz. I will say thank you very much for taking time out. On my left, Dr. S.M. Hassan Rizvi Sahab, Imam Mehfil Shafi Sahab. Thank you very much, sir. So first, let's talk about Misaq al-Madina. The simple stories I've heard, I'm not a scholar, I'm a very humble student of religion. So please, tell me, what are the core ethics, values, points of Misaq al-Madina?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Basically, two very important lessons from Misaq al-Madina. The first thing, when Holy Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina, even though Holy Prophet ﷺ was a lawgiver, lawmaker, Rasul, and I mean head of a state, he can obtain power. He has a power, but he preferred a proper constitution. So the first lesson is, while developing a nation, while developing a society, the proper constitution, the proper code of life is very important. The first message. The second message, Holy Prophet.
So there's no ad hocism.
Yes.
Even though this is the
not
Prophet, peace be upon him, and
yes.
Even he says no ad hocism.
Yes. Not ad hocism, not dictatorship like government.
A system has to be established.
System has to be established with consensus, with advices.
Okay.
Secondly, Holy Prophet ﷺ, through this Misaq al-Madina, has signed some treaties with those who are not Muslims also. All right. So provided them protection, safety, guardianship, and whatever you call it. If we are establishing here a Muslim state, we do not establishing a state like a king. We are not establishing here a state which runs on the wish of human being. But this state is being established on the wish of Allah. So the first thing is message of peace. Secondly, why this message of peace? Because when we sign a treaty with all those who belong to us, those who are our neighbors, whether they are Muslim, non-Muslim, then we will start conveying the message of Islam to them. The message of Islam, embracing of Islam, message of Allah, belief in Day of Judgment, belief in oneness of God, all these things can be conveyed to them when we have very smooth, very calm environment under a constitution with laws, even though, if you remember, the society was a tribal society.
Sure.
Not a very, I would say, civilized society in that sense, that we have very civilians and very big. They basically the tribal, but it's still, it is a tribal area, tribal society. Rasulullah ﷺ introduced these things. So basically these code of conduct teaches us that the first thing that we should develop a system where we can convey the message of Islam to those who are not Muslim. And secondly, the system of Islam, the system of God will provide protection to all human beings. The first of all we will provide. Therefore, in all wars of Islam, Holy Prophet ﷺ, whenever he sends a Sharia and whenever he sends some people for fight, he provided them code of conduct. First of all, invite them to the system of God.
With this, I'm going to talk about, but you see, that's where the confusion begins. They say, invite them. If they don't accept, kill them.
No.
That's what people say. I'll come back in 1 second, sir. But when we talk about Misaq Medina, what is the Prophet ﷺ's attitude towards non-Muslims, their places of worship? Do they come into our protection? The churches and the temples? What did the Misaq, what did Medina offer to the non-Muslims in terms of where and how are they free to worship?
They were totally free to offer their prayers, their way of life, in aspect of religion, business, everything. Only they were prohibited with basic things, that they have to guard the lives of the others. They cannot kill, they cannot do malpractices, and they have to pay some tax so that the state can run. Muslims were paying zakat and they were paying kharaj, and this was a type of tax. Otherwise, there was no difference between their rights. They were free. Not a single example can be presented. The Prophet had violated anything or destroyed any church or any synagogue. Cannot say any one example. They all were free. They were forced to bring Islam.
And even the Christian delegation was allowed to pray within
in the mosque,
Masjid al-Nabawi.
In the mosque of Nabawi, Najran. That they came and they said that we want to offer prayer. It's a mosque. In the mosque of Medina, Masjid al-Nabawi.
The first mosque of Islam, we can say.
The Prophet's own mosque.
Yes, own mosque.
And they offered their way of prayer, Christians. And the Prophet himself allowed. Now, at present, I think today no Muslim will allow Christians to offer prayers in their mosque. But the Prophet himself.
Different.
You're talking about Christians that won't allow
and the Muslims
somebody with a different last name to pray in their mosque. I mean, Qureshi will not take a Faruqi.
Have you told me that if a person came to mosque and they say, why they are not offering prayers according to Shafi'i Masalak sect? These are our
with
mind.
A knife, with a very big knife.
Of a big knife. And Prophet then offered himself. When they said, where should I be offered prayers? He offered the mosque. And after Makkah, after Kaaba, the most excellent mosque is the Masjid al-Nabawi.
Absolutely. So, to convey the message of Islam to non-Muslims, that's where the wars happened or not? The world says the Prophet ﷺ, his method was send the emissary, invite to Islam, if they don't agree, kill.
This is absolutely incorrect. First of all, concept of war. If you look at the religion, we have three Abrahamic religion: Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Concept of war is there in all these. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, this is mentioned in Quran also, Surah At-Tawbah, وَعَدًا عَلَيْهِ حَقًّا فِي التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ وَالْقُرْآنِ. The book of Musa alayhi salam and the book of Dawud alayhi salam and other books, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned. So the concept of war. What is the concept basically of war? Sometime in some very unbearable circumstances, you have to fight. So in case you have to fight, so what are the codes of fight? Just look at the religion, those who do not have a concept of fight, but their followers nowadays, they are starting to fight. Look at the Buddhism. There is no concept of fight in Buddhism, but they have started, because it means the concept of fight, the concept of war is there in every human society, the first thing. So what Islam has done? Islam has provided the code of war, organized it. Holy Prophet ﷺ did not say kill everyone, but he ﷺ said invite them to Islam. If they do not accept, try to take their control, and then not kill women, do not kill elders, do not full-fledged code of war. So
why would you?
This is the duty of.
But why would you take control?
Because
what was the reason?
Therefore, this is the duty of every messenger of God. Messenger of God, this is the duty to preach the Islam. And those who do not accept Islam, this is not something very new or something very unique with Islam. Every religion, they start, because if you look at these systems at that time, the prevalent at the time of Holy Prophet ﷺ, these systems, if you go to the details of these systems, they are developed on something very, very wrong. Their social system were wrong. So Islam, according to the Quranic concept, according to the Islamic concept, and according to the other religions, the messenger of God, this is his duty to convey the message of Islam to people. Firstly, lenient way and soft way. Therefore, they first invite. And Holy Prophet ﷺ, whenever he said, he said, look at the time of Fajr, listen, if there is a single voice of azan, do not start fighting. That means there are Muslims. So the concept of the war, if you look at the history of the kings and other imperialism history, they fight for land. But the religious fight, jihad, which is initiated by a messenger of God, is not for the land. It's for just to convey the message of Islam for those who have a control of a particular environment, and they do not allow the messenger of God to convey the message of God into the society. So for taking the control, it becomes convenient to the followers of messenger to convey the message of Islam to the society. Basically, those who have taken the control of society, they are basically the hindrance between the conveyance.
So people who are not people who are personally resisting conversion, but people who are standing in the way of propagation.
Yes.
So,
firstly, jihad means to defend.
Okay.
See, the Prophet, the wars in the time of Prophet, all were waged near the Medina, around Medina, not around Mecca. Badr, Uhud, Khandaq, all these wars fought by the disbelievers. They attacked Medina. Prophet was defending. It was a defensive war. When somebody is attacking on my house, I have to defend. It's a human right. Second, when people were oppressing others, groups, weak groups, the weak groups requested the Prophet to help them. Then Prophet sent, and firstly they were addressed that they should accept Islam, they should allow people to accept Islam, no power use, no pressing people to stand against Islam. They were going the message of peace. Islam means peace. But only when they were totally against the social rights of the people, those who wanted to learn, those who wanted to know, they were obstacle and they were checking them, or they were attacking Islam, Muslims.
So they were actually tyrannical. They were the oppressors against the weak.
The geographical evidence is that they have come from Mecca attacking Medina, 300 miles away from.
No, but other than defensive ones also, there are cases where, when Mufti Sahib says that, when we send emissaries, peace, it is to people who are actually oppressing others. Yes. Which is not unlike today's wars, where large powers actually tell societies with their oppressors to behave, their human rights violations.
Not this way. Weapon of mass destruction.
I'm not talking about that. I'm trying to. I know you're smiling, but I'm actually trying to build somewhat of a parallel here. When if there is a society, if there is a country, where there is maybe a very evil dictator killing people, so then it is the responsibility of others to come to their defense. It may be misused today,
yes, but there should be a code.
Right.
There should be a decorum, not for the personal benefit or not for their territorial benefit or geographical benefit. Not, but we can develop a system.
But to come and protect
if a society want to live this way, and someone has control, some
minority.
people, minority, or some people from bank, they have introduced a system which is becomes hindrance to interact to them. There, then it is the responsibility. And second, very important thing, we have to understand the job of messenger. The job of messenger is to convey the message of God to everyone, and not to acquire the land. Holy Prophet ﷺ was not a king. His life is so simple that I think no one in this world now, not a very few ulama, can live this life. Very simple life. So he was not a king. The only objective of a messenger of God is to convey the message of God.
But also of the state, not to propagate a religion, but it is the state's responsibility. If in an area there is an oppressor harming people, hurting, it's the state's responsibility to go and protect them. Yes. I know you're being very careful of saying yes, because there's so many parallels in this discussion, and there's so many real life examples within the boundaries of our country, that there are areas where there's somebody forcing people to behave in a certain way. So, and we've gotten into, there's a reason I'm saying, because we have these massive debates whether the army should be involved, not be involved, what is the ethic, should we be going in, is the army wrong, is the army, but it's the state's responsibility.
The state responsibility, the first responsibility of a state is to provide safety and protection.
Thank you.
This is the first responsibility. If
beyond religion, faith, anything.
Everything.
To humanity,
Second
you have to provide
thing,
protection.
justice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Third thing, proper system and code of life. If an state does not provide these things, there is no meaning of a state. There is, I think we can say, the group of oppressors
sure.
is doing something or snatching.
But if there is an area where there is need, where there is tyranny, where there is chaos, and like in Prophet ﷺ's time, the emissaries went, offered peace, and then they waged war. So Islam is not about oppression. Islam is not about spreading the message with a sword. Okay. Now, what is the overall message of the Quran? Then if this is not about spreading the religion on a sword, it's not about tyranny, then why has Quran been made synonymous with tyranny? I take a short break. When I come back, why is Quran unfortunately today labeled as a message of anarchy, of oppression, of chaos? Now, there are two aspects which I like to touch on. One is how the people see it and see, and the other is how we portray it. As the followers of the book, we are not also doing a fantastic job of giving a good picture. So I'd like to touch on that. Let's take a short break first. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Perspectives. Sir, I'd like to open this debate. What is the true message of Quran, and how the world is seeing it, and how we are portraying it? Sir.
The word Quran used for its message, Islam. In the Deen, in the Lahil, Islam. Islam means peace. The word Islam means peace.
Right.
That means the message of Quran is peace. Islam means peace.
Islam, salam, salam.
Peace in each and every part of life. Economic peace, social peace, religious peace, in home, in society, in shop, in office, everywhere. Peace is needed. And how the peace, you can bring peace in every part of life? When you are paying full dues of everyone. With the same justice. Unless you are not just, you can't bring peace. Because if you are not giving my dues, I will fight. I have the right. You give my dues, then I have no right to the fight. So starting from the peace, practical way, justice. Taqwa. Idlu huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa. When we are paying dues of society, every parents, wife, children, office colleagues, subordinates, officers, and the dues with God, from God, of God, state time. This will bring adl in the society, in the human life, in a personal life, in social life. This is the message of Quran. And justice not only with Muslims, be just with non-Muslims as well.
Important.
Quran clearly says, your enmity should not be that much higher that you won't be just with the non-Muslims. Quran says. So justice with each and every man in the society, in the world.
But sir, when you say justice with even non-Muslims, does that mean that if what is right and wrong is wrong? If a non-Muslim is right, he's still right, and if a Muslim is wrong, it's just wrong.
No, it is not. It is not oppressing my rights.
I'm going broader. He does not lie, I lie. So he is right, and I am wrong. Just because I'm a Muslim does not give me a right to lie.
You are not just. You are not just to him. You are lying to him. A kafir. If I am a Muslim lying with a kafir, it means I am not just with him, as I am not just with the Muslim.
Sir, what would you add?
Basically, what the violence or violent concept of Islam, I think this is a perception but not the reality. And there are two factors, but I think there are three factors. First factor is obviously our practices. What the society, Muslim societies, the differences and the variances between societies, and no protection of rights, no sanctity of word of Islam is there in our Muslim culture. So the first thing which is contributing to the developing this image. Second thing, obviously the propaganda. Obviously, I do not blame the person. Your enemy obviously will take advantage of your weaknesses.
He is your enemy, he's not your friend.
Yes. And so if we have these weaknesses, obviously they tried to propagate against them.
They'll amplify them.
This is not the blame on them, because this is the practice of human societies in history. And third thing, the violent groups, the differences have been obviously financed or supported by some other powers. So these three factors have contributed to develop this bad image of Islam. Those who are talking about peace or about the collective efforts of Muslim or about the killing of these differences, so those scholars, those ulama, they are not respected in our society by some groups. Even they have some threats.
Yeah.
Why you are talking about this? We have differences, so we cannot. So basically, all these practices, they are contributing to this bad image. And obviously, this is the bad image. This is not the reality. Because if we look the whole history of Islam of 1400 years, I think this violent part is around 50 or 40 years, not the whole history of Islam. So,
But even if it is longer, because there have been rulers who may have.
Yes.
But that is not a reflection on Islam.
Yes, obviously.
My actions, if I say it is on behalf of Islam, that is naked on behalf of Islam.
Except Prophet, action of the Prophet, Sunnah. This is the only authentic version of Islam.
Fair.
Sunnah of the
Absolutely.
of Quran and Sunnah. That means they are the authority. Muslims' actions are not regarded as Islam. They are the Muslims' actions. Maybe right, maybe wrong. Every Muslim,
Sure.
whosoever.
Or for that matter, every Christian. What the Christians are doing today is not necessarily Christianity.
Yes.
So just, that has not become a reflection on Christianity. Okay. Now, negotiation, discussion, communication. That is something we have not accepted ever since I've lived in this country. With our parents, if we talk about, parents say, don't you dare. How dare you question it? Especially if it's religion, don't you dare ask. Our teachers, scholars, have maybe amongst each other, you would negotiate and discuss at caliber. But if a common man was to ask you questions, I don't mean you, I mean certain teachers, ask questions, debate, it is not encouraged. And at times it is even discouraged very harshly. How dare you question? What does Islam say about questioning its orders? Am I supposed to just accept everything without understanding? Or am I required to actually, if Allah Ta'ala tells me to pray 5 times a day, so is it my duty to understand why? What is the advantage? Not saying that it is wrong, but is my duty to understand it or just accept, okay, I don't have to understand?
Just look at the seerah of Sahaba at the time of Holy Prophet Sahaba Ikram Rizwanullah alayhim ajma'in, they are keen on questioning, even though a lot of time. And Sahaba says there are some narrations which explains that Sahaba, they wait for a person who comes from village and ask Holy Prophet question. Basically, there are very difference between question. Lot of people in our society, why they do not encourage question? Because they think if a person asks a hard question and a very blunt question or a very open question, it means he is developing something negative against Islam. But this is not true. If a child, a young person, or a person who visited abroad, he may have some lot question about religion, about Quran and about Sunnah. How many time and how long you can make them quiet or silent? How long? 10 years, 20 years? Ultimately, when they become a decision maker, what will they do? So therefore,
you will create bigger distrust actually.
Obviously, because when you go and they become the elders and they can become decision makers, they will say, we did not find any question to these, any answer to these questions. So I think these are unanswerable questions. There is no unanswerable question. We should answer. And second thing, we can train them how to ask. For example, if a person asks something, we can say, your question is right, but maybe in some wrong way. Sure. Let me teach you how to ask a question. So I think,
but that is also part of education.
Sure. Yes, obviously. Sure. So Holy Prophet said, "Husnul su'al is full." A good question is being the half of ilm. So encouraging of question, because this creates nearness to God, also logical attachment to Islam. Dogmatism can work, but not that much. For education, for an educated person, he wants everything understand in logical manner. Obviously, there are some things which cannot be understood through logic only. For example, the concept of Day of Judgment, what is paradise and what is hell. But you can develop a frame of understanding. These are beliefs. Some of them cannot be attained through simple human logic, but these beliefs or these ideas are not very, very new to human society. They are from the start of human society. So answering a question is the responsibility of ulama, scholars, elders, teachers, everyone.
That is their duty as
responsibility.
Okay. Duty. Now, I would just humbly add, when you say that certain things are not understandable, I would say are not understandable yet. We can accept them. Do not disagree with them. But it is all right to keep asking.
Yes.
And maybe one day we will find the answer. We may not understand. People did not understand meanings of many things 300 years ago, but they kept questioning, and today the answers are coming forward. So if we keep questioning, heaven and hell, we'll find the answer maybe in 1,000 years, but we have to keep investigating, sir.
The Prophet said, "As-su'al miftahul ilm." Asking question is the key of the knowledge. All the knowledge has been developed by the questions. First,
if you don't have the curiosity, you will not investigate.
He saw that the apple is coming down.
Sure, absolutely.
Then he thought, why? Why is it coming down? Why is it not going up? His question was.
Sure.
Then again he did research and they come to that conclusion. So all the process of the knowledge, it starts with question. You cannot refuse to answer the question. They must be given logical answer. If you cannot, you can study. If you're not able to, if somebody, a scholar, is not capable to answer at the spot, you should say that I should study.
Or if an answer is not yet available, you can leave the question open. We don't know. Humanity doesn't have the answer yet, but we believe that what is in Quran is valid, but we will find the answer not yet.
I think any society where is no intellectual debates, no question, is a dead society, not a live society.
God,
We do
I
not
wish you
have-
hadn't. I was about to say is our society, but then you said that, so I'm not going to say that.
We do not have any question in graveyard, but in a live society we have questions. We have intellectual debates.
But if
We have
there's
intellectual
prohibition in
differences.
asking those questions, then what?
No, I
Many
think
many
this is
ahadith start
misconception.
su'ila. Many ahadith start su'ila. He was asked. Prophet was asked, and then he was answered. The Prophet never, not a single example you will find in the life of the Prophet that he said, no, you cannot ask this question. That's all. He answered everything.
But then why in our
Even
society?
people from jungle came and they put questions and Prophet answered.
But in our society, questioning is it's like a crime
This is
at any level. How? Please tell, encourage, tell your fellow scholars and tell the students what are we supposed. Because it has become such a scary subject that even if you say something which is not agreeable to you, I'll be in trouble. I mean, I'm going to be honest. We're doing these shows. All of us have to be careful what we say because we could offend somebody and they could be very aggressive. So why from our society? Why from the followers of Islam, the religion of knowledge, the religion of investigation, the religion of understanding, we have the least understanding?
This is not acceptable behavior. We should provide environment where we ask questions, we have intellectual debates, we have intellectual differences. We must have.
And maybe the questions are offensive at times, but
Yes,
that's okay. They have to be answered.
As I've told, we can train, we can provide the training how to ask. For example, if you face, whenever I go to my class, I used to give some lectures. So whenever I open the forum and I say, please ask me the question, and there might be some offensive question. So I will teach you how to ask this question. For example, if you want to criticize the role of scholars, the role of ulama, so there is a way to criticize them, not to ask a very open, a very blunt question, or they are not doing anything. We can say certain results are not achieved by efforts of ulama. So do you think the role of ulama is perfect? So this is
this general etiquette of communication.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with Islamic questioning.
Yes,
We
this
should
is
have
a common
etiquette.
human
Thank you.
sense.
Exactly.
So I think
Because I don't want people to think that you're saying,
we
oh,
should-
you have to have a certain way of talking.
Yes.
You have to have a certain way of talking to anybody.
yes. So first of all, we should open the floor, open everywhere, open
Any
for
question.
Secondly, we can teach them how to ask this particular question. And if we think, for example, this question is a very very sensitive question, especially particularly belongs to Holy Prophet ﷺ or for the concept of God, so how to ask this question.
But
So I think if we provide this training,
But so may I interject with apology? You could train me how to ask this question. But the world is asking these questions very rudely. We do have to
not an
answer
issue.
these.
I think if we provide them the answers in 10 years, 20 years, they will understand how to ask the question.
But we immediately condemn them and damn them and say,
No,
beat 'em
this
up.
is not this is not the correct behavior. How, as I said, how long can we do these things? Can we adopt this behavior? Obviously, we have to die. Our youngers become the decision makers and elders.
And they would have weak understanding.
Weak understanding, so they will start forcing similar behavior to their
You
nation.
know, what a beautiful thing you've said. I mean, today, the enemies are asking certain questions. We refuse to answer them. We maybe have a better understanding from a different generation, but the next generation won't even have our understanding, and they will actually start believing that those questions are right, and we were wrong.
It is a matter of 3 generations only. First generation, they do not reply. Second generation develop confusion, and the
Third
third
generation
generation
wipes it out.
started wiping something, and the fourth generation say, "What are these questions?"
But so the third generation is upon us. The third generation is here.
Yes,
Is now what do people who are 15, 16 years old
yes,
are
they are
actually the third generation.
Yes, so we have to spend time for them, and this behavior of stopping them from questioning, from asking something, from understanding, there might be some very strong question, some very open question. So
But there are questions in his mind. We have to address it. Sir,
Of course,
what
of
more
course.
would you add?
This is the first duty of the scholars and ulamas to answer the questions of especially youngsters. The same way, because they are, after some time they will become decisive role.
And today's young people are a different generation. They're knowledge generation.
Of course.
They have the world in front.
Of course.
They're not living in small villages.
No.
They have
more knowledge.
They have this monster in front of them. So they have questions.
They must answer. They must be answered.
How would you address your fellow scholars and teachers?
Question is a sickness of heart.
Has to be
It must be cured. Sickness of heart and mind. If it must be
left
removed,
unanswered,
must be, if not answered, it will become more powerful, and it will become kufr after some time.
Ultimately become destructive and disastrous, sir. Because when you're youngers, those who you stop them from asking, when they become mature and they ask, we used to ask you some question, why did not you provide the answer? And obviously, ultimately you will say, I'm sorry, I do not have any answer. Therefore, every time you ask, I stopped you.
Kufr means to refuse. So if you not answer the question, after some time they will refuse.
And they will actually start believing, there is no answer, so this is right. There is a problem.
It's a big problem.
With time, we'll start. Sir, closing notes. What would you like to add?
For the knowledge, for the title of the program, message of Islam is never been the violence. Message of Islam is peace. And those who think that the war is a part of violence Islam is not correct. War and these things, if the war is not the part of human society, there would not be any concept of law enforcement agencies in any human society. It means there are some needs in human society from the start of humanity for war or for use of force. But it does not mean the whole system developed. So Islam is a religion of peace, and if Islam had been promoted by war and by sword, by force, Islam would not continue for 1400 years. So this is the sign. And those area where there was some forces against Islam. Look at the history of Central Asia and other countries, but Islam remained there. It means Islam was in heart of them. So, do you think everyone knows that you cannot put something in heart of anyone by force? Obviously, you can put them anything, any belief, any matter in heart of any person with politeness, with softness. So, the message of Islam is politeness, softness, and leniency. Even Quran's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Hazrat Musa alayhi salam to deal with Pharaoh with leniency. Then what is left?
Well said.
Ayah, the word ayah means sign and means argument. The word ayah means argument. Hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin. Quran says, you bring your arguments if you are true. That means whole Quran is based on argument. The message is based on argument, not by force. La ikraha fi din. Quran says there is no jabr and operation in. As far as the wars are concerned, this is an example of operation. If a sick man is operated just at the last stage, not at the first stage. When the man is not ready to listen anything, he is checking the message, he is oppressing the people, he is not ready to come the real message in the society. Such people are fought. Such people are to be defended.
People who are oppressing others or stopping others from coming.
Okay. That. Otherwise, the whole message of Islam is based on argument, on science, dalil. Quran says dalil. Burhan means argument. Ayat means argument. In Quran you say everything is argued. Like
there's reasoning.
Reasoning. They brought a bone from the graveyard. Say how this bone can be can have a life again. How it's possible? Quran. I would say the one who has created this bone before, he can recreate it as well. The argument. It is argument. The whole way, you say, as far as the Tawheed is concerned, oneness of God, The Quran is arguing everywhere is argument after argument, evidence after evidence. So when the argument is the whole message is based on argument, how you can bring violence in this message? From where?
Beautifully said.
Impossible.
So, thank you very much for taking time out. It's a great honor. Islam, what I've understood, is a religion of intelligent discourse, intelligent discussion. Discourse with yourself, discourse with your fellows, and discourse with your enemies, but intelligent. In our discourse, we become aggressive. We become abusive. Aggression and abusiveness are signs of defensiveness. And when we act defensive, we are basically saying we are wrong. If you are right, and if you're strong in your belief and understanding, you will be polite. You will be soft. And you will understand and believe that the other person maybe doesn't understand yet. And it is my duty. Lama Sahib said it is the duty of the scholars and teachers to answer questions, but it is also my and your duty to answer questions of those who ask of us. Answer the questions we know. What we don't know, say, I don't know, I will find out. And if I can't find out, say, well, there is no answer yet, but this is my belief. If the Christians can say Jesus is the Son of God, if the Jews can say something else, Hindus can say something else, these are all their beliefs. They can't all prove their beliefs. I may not be able to prove all my beliefs, but I will keep reasoning. I will keep being logical about it, and I'm open to discussion. Open your hearts. Open your arms to the world. Be soft, be gentle, be polite. That is the Sunnah Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Islam is not a religion of violence, aggression, abuse. Don't create an example of it as such, because unfortunately if we do, we give Islam the wrong name, which is it. We are the examples of Islam. Act like good Muslims. Inshallah, next time. Good night.